welcome to Nicole's Needlework. Today is Sunday, January 26th, 2020, and it is right around 11 a.m. And this is actually episode 70. I can't believe it's episode 70. This is a podcast about mainly cross stitch, but I do have a little knitting to share. Let's see, my last video was right before Christmas. So it's been about a month, and we've done quite a bit of traveling. Went down to Florida, saw all our family, and my husband actually was able to come down for a day to see his mom, which was really nice. And then my husband and I met in Charlotte for a weekend, and then I took the kids to DC to spend the weekend with him there. So he should be home in about a month, thankfully. It's been a long 3 months, but the last part has kind of gone by quickly. It was really hard in the beginning, and now we've kind of gotten into our routines, but I still miss him a lot, and can't wait for him to come home. So anyway, so I do have quite a bit to share. So my Christmas, I said Anne Uffendell was going to be my Christmas start, and I did. I started around Christmas. And actually I had to restitch this outside border. Oh, my needle's stuck. I had to restitch this outside border, practically the whole thing, because I miscounted and my needle is really stuck in here. Okay, so this is on that 40 count creme brulee I got at Fire Poppies, and I'm using the called for Avera Soie Silks Soie d'Alger. I'm loving it. It's so pretty. It's a lot of fun to stitch. I need to get back to it. But I got all these little flowers done down here. And then I started working on the basket there. That basket is just gorgeous right there. Whoops. In the middle. Just love it. So this was such a sweet Christmas present. Thank you again, Carol. So loving that. I need to get back to it. Then I worked a little bit on Jane Stanwyck's, and I've kind of focused on it a lot lately. But this is the Jane Stanwyck's by Samplers Revisited. And I'm using the Country Samplers conversion. And this is an older die lot of 40 count vintage Meadow Rue. And I stole the idea from Susan on Instagram, Susan_414, to use white instead of the pink. And I'm using Classic Colorworks Eggshell. But this has been a lot of fun. I love a red house. So, and here's the threads. Ah! Pretty colors. So really don't have much more to go on that. So when I did go to, at the beginning of January, I went to Panera and met up with a group of stitchers. So we stitched on Saturday, and then had to go to Fire Poppies, and I ended up getting Mary Clayton. Hands Across the Sea. It's just a sweet sampler, and I got some silk threads I needed for it. I already had some in my stash, and I got the other half of that creme brulee that was there. I just love that linen, and this is actually a cut from that I cut off from Anne Uffendell, but I can use it for Mary Clayton. So with the other half, I actually ended up restarting my Mary Bars sampler. The 40 count parchment I was using, it just was a little too yellow, and I had a feeling I was probably going to restart it when I kept saying it's fine, it's fine. I know myself so well, but so I ended up using, and it didn't really have much of a border. It was just like an inch border, and you really need more. So not much of a restart, but I am liking it. I got all the border done. So this Stacy Nash Mary Bars sampler, $18.29. I love this. And Nicole for threads. So then the next weekend I went up to Charlotte and I picked up my framing. I had dropped these off in October, I think, and wasn't able to get up there until just a couple weeks ago. So the first one is Sarah Redfern or Fern by the Scarlet House. And this is on 40 count vintage exemplar by Lakeside Linens. Sorry for the glare. I love it. I love how it turned out. And it's a lot bigger than I realized. But I love the frame. I love how it has a little bit of distressing. It just turned out really pretty. And then I picked up Elizabeth Hunter, 1853. By the Scarlet House. And this was in the collection of Brenda, from Brenda Sampler Stitcher. And this is also vintage exemplar, but it has a little more yellow tone. You can see this is more pinky and this one is more yellow. But I love them both. So I was glad to get those. And then while I was there, I just got a couple pieces of linen, just a couple fat 8s, vintage light exemplar and vintage pecan butter by Lakeside Linens. And then I saw a piece of linen for a sampler I'd been wanting to start for quite a while. And it is the Plantation Sampler by Canterbury Designs. And this sampler came out in 1987, so it's an old one, and it is out of print now. I got it probably about 10 years ago at Elegant Stitch. I ordered it through her, and it was $5. Actually, I think I spent $4 because I got a discount. But it's really pretty. And if you Google the Scarlet House Plantation Sampler, you can see a picture of Tanya's version, and she very kindly shared her conversion, and it's on my blog. So if you search on my blog for Plantation Sampler conversion, you can find it on there, and I will also post a link. But here's my little start, and this is 40 count Picture This Plus Fog. I haven't cut the linen yet. Really pretty, and the colors are definitely different than what I would normally stitch with, but it's really pretty. So these are just needlepoint ink silks and DMC. So it's gonna be pretty. So that was when we went to Charlotte, and then so I worked on that in Mary Bars a little bit, and then So, where is it? So Michelle, Farm Girl, mentioned doing this sampler as a stitch along, and I actually started it probably last year sometime. And I keep going back and forth as to whether I want to use the called for colors or make it more faded like this sampler. I love how Carol's turned out. It's really pretty. She used all the called for colors. So I have it kitted right now with the called for. I don't know. I second guess my choices all the time. But here's my teeny tiny little start. And this is on Vintage Light Exemplar. So I just worked on this a little bit. I think the stitch along is supposed to start February 1st. And here's the called for colors. And they are really pretty. So I may just go with it and go with the more colorful sampler. I don't have to use my brain so much. So I did work on that just a tiny bit. So I got one of these planners so I can keep track of my stitching. I was using a thicker planner, but as I was using it, I realized I only just use like the month portion anyway, so I might as well just have this so I can just slip it in my bag. So I also, we were getting ready to go to DC, and I thought I'd better work on my hat. I wanted to actually get this finished to use in DC. And this is the 21 color slouch hat. And I actually did finish it. I finished it in the airport, I think. So, or on the plane. Maybe it was on the plane or the airport. It was one of those. It might have been, I can't remember. So we went to DC. I finished it, but it still needs to be blocked. It needs to be washed. I had to weave in so many ends. It's ridiculous, but it's done. It's cute. So when we were in DC, first stop is always in stitches. So Brenda and Laura, Brenda and the serial starter. I am now the serial starter. I'm now Laura's twin because everything they stitch I want to start, and it's crazy. So I came across, so while watching Brenda and Laura's last video, they mentioned Wreath, Stitching with Wreath, who has a new floss-tube video. So I went and watched hers, and I was in big trouble after watching her video and Brenda and Laura's. So Brenda showed this, Sarah Stewart Hardman by Needlework Press. And this is like the companion to Anne Rayner that I just finished. And I swore I wasn't going to start it anytime soon because of this teeny tiny over one and all that. But seeing their progress, I ended up starting it. So while in stitches, I got a piece of vintage buttercream, and I haven't cut this yet either. So that's my little start. I got the border done. Of course I had to rip it out halfway through, so me and borders are not doing well lately. But you can kind of see, I'm just dropping stuff. So I'm using the cotton threads. I took them off the ring for some reason. I stole the ring from these. So I don't have a big start on that, but I will get back to it. This linen is definitely more yellowish in person, but I thought it looked really pretty with the threads. So then also because of Reese's video, I ended up getting a couple samplers. So this one is the Rose Wreath sampler. It's C. Matthews 1841 by GGR. And I got, so when I was looking at the linen at In Stitches, last time I was there I didn't see any Lakeside or 40 count Lakeside, so I thought, well, I'll just check again, and they had some Lakeside. So I got the vintage buttercream, and then I also got a fat half of vintage light exemplar, which is one of my favorite linens. And then I also got a fat half of 46 count vintage light exemplar. And I was thinking of stitching the Rose Wreath sampler on it, and I started just a tiny bit to see how it would look. And I think I'm gonna like it. It is really teeny tiny though. But it's pretty. And I'm just using all the called for cotton threads. And I was gonna do, because they give you a faded version, to use Rose Garden, which is kind of a pinky. And I was stitching the other night, and my friend Kate said I should go with the red, which is claret. So I took her advice and went with the red, and I think it's so pretty. So thanks for that, Kate. And I also got, this is because of Brenda and Caroline, Miss Manners, Elizabeth Manners, 1843. And I got the cotton threads, but I'm kind of leaning towards maybe getting the silk conversion from the attic. So we'll see. We'll see about that. I've already spent my Christmas money and more. I gotta rein it in a little. One other thing I did hit up is Marianne Farmer by the Scarlet House. Okay, the cats are acting crazy today. I don't know what's going on with them. So one other thing I kitted up is Marianne Farmer, and another one I blame on Brenda and Laura, or Laura. I think Laura had started this. So I went through my stash and I found some linen. I'm gonna use 40 count sand by Picture This Plus, and I had a lot of the silks. I just needed a few more silks. Some of these reds I didn't have. So I think that's gonna be so pretty. And it was really, really hard not to just start it too. I don't know, I'm in a starting mood. I'm probably gonna regret that, but I just wanna stitch everything right now. And then they showed Spanish Mystery Sampler, which I actually did start at one time. And then I cut off the linen and used it for something else. But I've had all the threads for a while. And I was thinking I could use, because it calls for vintage light exemplar. And I was thinking I could use this. It's a little hard to see with them in the baggies. Or, actually went to Fire Poppies the other night and picked up a piece of 40 count light mocha. which I've always loved this linen. It's a really pretty linen. And I was thinking of doing that and saving the lining sampler, hoarding it actually. But I may tea and coffee dye this, or just coffee dye, or just tea dye, just quickly, kind of grunge it up just a little bit. But I think these would look really pretty on it, so I'm leaning towards that. I think that's it. Let me check. I think that's it though. Mary Bars, Jane Stanwicks. So, and then I started the Rose Wreath sampler Friday night, because they all stayed and did 24 hours of cross stitch. I had to get Matthew, and I had to go to the eye doctor. We had all these appointments, so I could not do it, but I did stay for a few hours and worked on that. But I think that's it for now. 2020 plans, I basically want to just stitch samplers, reproduction samplers. My only exception that I have going is that plantation sampler. It's not a reproduction, it was just made to look like one. And His Eyes on the Sparrow, I do want to get back to that. I went through and I unkitted quite a few things. So in my tub of whips is just reproduction. So this is just kitted things or things I have started. So I have quite a few that I need to get back to. And so that's mainly what I want to be working on from now on, actually, is reproduction samplers, because that's what I love, and that's what I love to see framed, and they're really are timeless. I mean, they've lasted hundreds of years, and they'll last hundreds more. I mean, the style of them. So I think that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Sorry, this was so unorganized as always. I'll talk to you later. Probably in another month or so. Bye. Hey again, everyone. I almost forgot to do this giveaway. The designer from Roveris in Italy reached out to me and asked if I would like to do give away some charts on my video, and I said sure. Okay, so here's the first one, and they don't have names, so if you're interested in this one, just say directions. Just say, I like directions. It comes with a cute little charm there. And let's see, this one is Daisy. And you can enter for one of these or all of these. And I will do, I will draw the names before my next video. So this one, just say Daisy, or I like daisies. And this one also comes with two little charms, a bee and a flower. So cute. Here's one more, and this is farm. And you can just say I like farm or farms. And it has a piece of lace there. Comes with a little piece of lace. Very cute. And the last one is freedom. So you can say freedom, I would like freedom, or I like freedom. So freedom, farm, daisy, and direction. And the freedom one comes with the two little charms also. So in your comments, just say which chart you would like, and I will do the drawing before my next video. Thanks again. Bye.